All right. So from the very onset of teaching science, I've said to you, and I said to everyone, even up to year 12 and year 13, science is a language. Biology isn't as different as physics in terms of language, but there's a lot of words to learn. And one of my favorite topics is human systems. And today we're going to, last week we looked at the stomach, this week we're going to look at the digestive system. One of the reasons it's my favorite topic is I got to dissect people. And my children are kind of, they hear that from daddy quite a lot, especially when they were younger. I spent 3 years in the medical building in Manchester, and I actually got to dissect people. And as gruesome as that sounds, I remember being 18, leaving school, and going to Manchester University's medical building. And the first time I saw a cadaver, that's the technical name for a body, it really freaked me out. I was absolutely petrified, as anyone would be when there was this cadaver in front of me. But I find it really interesting. And a lot of anatomy, all the way through to undergrad medicine, is about learning words. And you're very young in this. There's no SATs anymore in year 9 that you guys are going to do. So, well, why not? Why not learn the trickier questions? The trickier content, I should say. So, what we're going to do today, we have a look. That's Heidi, just bear with me a second. We're going to have a look at different ways of learning lots of content. So, I'm going to go through the content first of what you need to know. I'm then going to show you a way of learning it. It's called card covers. I never did this. I never did this at school. I'm not even sure if it existed when I went to school, but I've used it a couple of times with my students all the way to year 13. Now, last week we looked at mind maps. These are different ways of learning. And in the questions, it's not about how good you are at it, it's how well does your card cover work for you. It might not. You might look at it and try it and go, oh, no, I don't like it. There is absolutely nothing wrong with that. But learning is about finding what tools work for you. For me, it was mind maps, not so much flashcards, and we've had a look at flashcards, and we'll look at them in some detail anyway. All right, so task today, and this is how we're going to structure the lesson. I'm going to go through the content, and then you're going to create some bullet points for the content. Now, you're then going to use the pink card that I've created as a card cover. You're going to go through it at least 10 times, and then you're going to try to answer these questions here. So I've put everything in order, and I'm going to show you how to do it and what I mean by it. So the content today you're going to look at is the anatomy and some physiology, which means how things work in the human body. So this is the digestive system on the right. Now I'm just going to delete some things that I was doing on it so you can see it clearly. Let's get rid of that. So we start digestion at the mouth here. Okay. Now this to me is dull and boring. Oh my God, the word mouth. Oh, yeah. However, there are scientific names that are kind of interesting. There is another name for the mouth. It is the buccal cavity. And I quite like that because it just sounds different. It's like, ooh, that's a weird word. And I quite like words. So the mouth is also called the buccal cavity. Now, this is where digestion starts. And it starts with mechanical breakdown. All right, here, mechanical digestion. Mechanical digestion, mechanical breakdown. I want you to recognize that word. You can use it if you want. I don't mind if you do it, if you don't. All it means is you are chewing. Mechanics is the movement of things, how things move. And your digestion starts with your chewing. But why do we chew food? Well, we chew food to increase its surface area. That's chemistry. The greater the surface area, the faster a reaction occurs. So you chew to increase your surface area. Within your saliva, that's a technical word for your spit. And again, even at A level, I don't mind if you use the word spit. I'd rather you would use the word saliva, not because that adds any marks, because I think words are really important. There is an enzyme called amylase, and you can see that I've highlighted it. Well, it's in bold. Amylase is an enzyme, and enzymes are, and I remember my daughter being a bit younger than you, and she used to say, Daddy, enzymes are like little machines, and they are. And enzymes break down bigger molecules. They break down starch. The specific one is amylase. It breaks down starch into maltose. Now, I know you've never heard of maltose. I'll tell you about maltose. If it ends in O's, if a word in biology ends in O's, glucose, fructose, maltose, galactose, this means sugar. There are many different types of sugar. The one you tend to eat is sucrose. But if it ends in O's, it's a sugar. Okay, now you then swallow, you turn your food into a ball, and it's a really cool Latin word, a bolus or bolus. This is the Latin word for it. And then you swallow. Now, this is a technical name for the food pipe, the esophagus. That connects your mouth to your stomach. And when you swallow, it's like this contraction that squeezes your food down. And there's a really cool word for this as well. I'm going to write it, and these words, you don't need to know them yet. Peristalsis. Peristalsis. I think I've missed an S out somewhere. I think it was there. No, I'll leave that there. Peristalsis, I think there's an R out there. Peristalsis. Okay. Now, peristalsis is, again, another really cool word. And no, I think I put that R's bothering me. Yeah, I think I got it right the first time. So peristalsis is a really cool word for how your food pipe squeezes your food and pops it in your stomach. Now, in your stomach, you have mechanical digestion. And again, this is where your stomach squishes your food. It squishes your food. You've got a smooth muscle inside your stomach and it squishes your food. All right. Now, you've got another enzyme in here called protease. And protease breaks down proteins. You also, Elia, get off the screen, please. You also, within your stomach, you have hydrochloric acid. All right. Now, the hydrochloric acid kills any bacteria that's on your food or any bacteria that enters. And right now we are here. We're in your stomach. There. All right. Right now we're in your stomach. And if you look very carefully, we have gone from your buccal cavity, your mouth, chewing, down your esophagus into your stomach. And this is full of acid. It then goes here into your duodenum. That's part of your small intestine. The first part is called the duodenum. And it's cool learning these new words. Now, your duodenum has a problem. Your stomach is full of acid, and that's going to hurt your small intestine. So what you do is you neutralize some of the acid, right? So it becomes slightly alkali. Alkali has a pH slightly alkali of 8 to 9. All right. And you have some enzymes that are made in your pancreas as well. Now, the second section is called the ileum. This is the bit here that absorbs all the stuff you've been digesting. After that, you come to the large intestine. This is how your body makes poop. The technical word for poop is feces. So your body reabsorbs all the water. We don't want to dehydrate and die. And this is where you make poop or feces. This stays in a part of your large intestine called the rectum. And when you go to the toilet, it leaves your anus and pops down into the toilet. Now, the little things that we, in more detail down here, the pancreas. The pancreas is this organ right there in yellow. There's a little pancreas right there, and I've drawn on top of it. That's your pancreas. And your pancreas makes 3 types of digestive enzymes. Amylase, which breaks down starch into maltose, protease, which breaks down proteins, and lipase. Okay. It also creates an alkaline fluid to neutralize the acid in your stomach. Finally, your liver produces bile. And this is to emulsify fats. That means mix your fats up so they'll actually mix with water. All right? Okay, that's a lot of content, a huge amount. And the problem you've got is that's a lot of reading to do, and it can become really, really annoying. So what I started to do on the left is create a card cover. And your first task is to finish my card cover. And if you look, I'm just going to lower these down to where they're fitting. That's the stomach, that's the esophagus, and that's the mouth. And I've removed a lot of the writing. I've kept it really simple. So if you look at my first part here, my typing is so bad. So from the mouth, you've got mechanical digestion, and amylase breaks down starch. Into maltose. Stomach, esophagus, pushes food from your mouth to your stomach. I don't mind if you use the word peristalsis. The stomach carries on with mechanical breakdown. It has hydrochloric acid and protease for breaking down proteins. So I've written the same thing, but very, very short. So I've done the first three. Your first task is to finish them. And then, because you've only got small intestine, large intestine, pancreas, and liver to do, you do a card cover. I've created this pink card. I'm actually going to make it bigger. This pink card, you can change the colour, you do whatever you want with it. You put it on top. Now, I can remember these because I've done this a million times. You're not going to remember your sentences. And this is the benefit of a card cover. It's about recall, retrieving information from your brain. What was the first one about? Well, where does digestion start? My mouth. What does my mouth do? Mechanical breakdown. Now, I know what the next thing is, but I'm going to pretend I don't. And you go, all right, let's check it. This is why it's called a card cover. Amylase breaks down starch to maltose. Oh, I forgot that bit. What comes next? The esophagus. Well, what does that do? Oh, I can't remember. You pull it down. You go, oh, it pushes the food from your mouth to your stomach. Right. The last one. What's in my stomach? Well, I've got hydrochloric acid. I've got protease, the enzyme. What else does it do? It's mechanical breakdown. And you go over it at least 10 times until you start remembering every single bit about it. After you've done that, you then try to answer these questions. I don't care if you're right or wrong. I want you to find out if a card cover works for you. Now, I've been very fast the last part because I've been talking for 12 minutes and that's far too long. So I'm just going to stop.